Alrighty, so this will be the People News. Thinking outside the box again. Alright, and decide to share it. Okay? Never look straight forward, always look around to be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Now, this is New Zealand guy, Bill Turner. However, you guys sit and think about it. Civil law was adopted in our country from England, which was adopted from Rome. So we're operating all in the same principle. Okay? So, let's just proceed forward on this. And again, this is a learning video, and I'm not legally going to give advice. May or may not give my opinion. My opinion only, do not take it as legal advice. Alright? Take it as a learning video, people.
Now, if you remember my last video, you will remember this was the opening scene, or the thumbnail. Now, you probably don't realise what it is, but that is the island of Venice. And if you look at the front left there, it's the bow of a ship. Now, the Phoenicians came across the waters and built this island called Venice. And why there are no roads in there is because this is a ship, and this is where the maritime law comes from. And if you have a look at the front of that, it is the bow of a ship. So the maritime law, the captain of that island is running maritime law from that island. But if you want proof of that, they don't hide anything. They put it out.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there for learning purposes only. For religious people out there, okay? Now, when Jesus walked on the water, and the guy who was afraid that he's going to drown and all that, you got to take everything in context, right? Jesus put down to give everybody second chances and wake up and realize what's going on around them. The reason why Jesus died innocently is because they never had jurisdiction over him. But what he was doing is teaching the people that we was operating in maritime. He was walking on the water. He was not in Admiralty maritime law. Alright? And he walked to the land to stay away from it. Alright? And he was teaching the people, well, I must drown and all that kind of stuff. Now, that being said, because Jesus truly walked on the water, there was a syntax in there. Basically letting everybody, you can walk on the water by getting out of Admiralty maritime law. Or use it to your benefit. Again, that's just my opinion, and it's a learning video, y'all. Take it as you wish.
They're in full sight. So if we look at our court emblem in New Zealand here, you'll see straight away that the 3 Phoenician ships are on there. So this is where we conduct our business from. And so the New Zealand courts are part of the maritime law that comes all the way from Venice. Now, just a couple of other little facts here that, throwaway comments for you to have a look at and do your own research. And if you find anything interesting, please feel free to put it in the comment section and share it with others. All in good taste, of course. Now, the international dateline, because time begins in New Zealand. Now, about 3 or 4 years ago, the international dateline was changed into this weird shape. What they changed it for, I'll give you a clue. Do you think it looks like this? The Sphinx in Egypt. If so, are they trying to tell us to come out of New Zealand, you slaves? Come out of Egypt, you slaves. It may be. If you have any other thoughts, please feel free to put them in the comments. Once again, I love looking at symbols and buildings and things to find clues, because they put everything in plain sight. You've just got to learn how to decipher them. Now, if you look at that map of the world, you'll notice that Australia is quite up the top there. But at the very top, New Zealand. I wonder why. What do you think they're trying to tell us here? Another little snippet from my Back to Basics to try and get you guys up to a higher level. So we're going to go onto the duck, and I like using the duck, and we type in Bovius Online Law Dictionary. We'll go to Bovius Online Law Dictionary, and we're going to go to the letter M. We're going to scroll down here to MAX, maxims. Here we go, we're getting close. Sorry, that's my mouse scrolling there. Here we go, maxims. Okay, maxim. An established principle or proposition, a principle of law universally admitted as being just and consonant with reason. Now, there's one particular part there. If you go down and have a look through these, some of these are just absolute pearlers. Anything with JUS or use means justice. So there's some good ones in there. Right and fraud never go together. A right cannot arise from a wrong. You've got to go through them. But I want to get down to the N, because here we go. You remember the fish, Nemo? Now, when you go through this, you'll find that Nemo on these maxims means no one, no one, no one, no one. Okay, so scroll through these maxims, guys. There's a whole heap of them here, but they definitely have a lot of good stuff in them. Right, there he is, little Nemo. And Nemo, as we said, was no one, but when you type it in the Google Translate, it comes out as nobody. So, the first thing they normally ask you for when they stop you, or you're at a counter anyway, what's your name? So let's have a look at that. One or more words used to distinguish a particular individual, as Socrates, Benjamin Franklin. So that's what name means from the Law Dictionary. But if they ask you for your name and you refuse to give your name, they get all uppity, and you can't blame them. They're just trying to do a job. So maybe if you were asked the next time, you could respond Nemo. And being none the wiser, I mean, I've used this in a court where they've asked me to sign into the court, and I've just put Nemo. The judge asked me once what was my name, and I said Nemo, and he knew straight away and moved right along. So it's a non-confrontational. So try to get confrontation out of your vocabulary, and be nice. Okay, so if you ever have a policy enforcement officer say you are under arrest, there are certain protocols that they must follow. They must say or do this, or the judge will dismiss the case. And I have been in court where a judge has dismissed the case. It was a friend of mine with a traffic offence, and because the officers did not do the arrest correctly, it was thrown out. So they must place their hand on your shoulder and say you are under arrest. Okay, the second thing, or you willingly accept their offer. If they say you're under arrest and you say, okay, and you walk off with them, or if they put their hand on your shoulder and you say, okay, then you are under arrest. Now, there are ways to avoid that, and I'll show you shortly other ways that you can avoid this situation. Okay, now, if they do arrest you because you've been belligerent and argued and carried on, they will try to get you to sign something. They need you to get to sign something to get jurisdiction. So if they force you to sign, right under duress after your signature. So if they ask you to sign something, say, sorry, I can't do that. Thank you for your offer, I can't do that. Then they will get upset, and they'll start threatening you and all sorts of things. Now you're under duress. That's when you can sign. Okay? Force is inimical to the laws, okay? Injurious, harmful in effect, adverse. So the moment the judge sees under duress, after your signature, he knows he has no jurisdiction. All contracts are null and void at that stage. Now, here's one of the things that you can do to bypass the policy enforcement officers. And if you've got your own passport, now this is a United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland passport. Now, if you see on the left-hand side there by the nice little treasure chest, or is that a compass, there is a little speech written there. I'll put it up here so it's a little bit easier to read. Her Britannic Majesty's Secretary of State requests and requires in the name of Her Majesty all those whom it may concern to allow the bearer to pass freely without let or hindrance, and to afford the bearer such assistance and protection as may be necessary. Now, it's as simple as that. I've used that coming through customs, and they just let you go straight through, because they cannot stop you if you hold them up and ask for the officer in charge to come out, and you hold that up and say, could you read that out loud? They will let you pass. Okay, now I want to move on to something that another real gem that you probably haven't realised, although I did do it in my stamp duties video many years ago, probably about 6 years ago or something like that. But endorsee, the person to whom rights are transferred by endorsement. Okay? Endorsee is the person to whom rights are transferred by endorsement. So we'll look at endorsement. Writing on the back of a document. You can read the rest there, but endorsement. So when you write on the back of a document, things change. Now, I pulled down a letter from the internet here. I've blacked out the names of the recipient of this letter, but it was freely available on the internet. But I don't want to share their names. So, no matter what we write to government officials, unless we endorse the back of the instrument and pay our stamp duty, the recipient will endorse the inchoate instrument and transfer the rights to themselves. So if you write to the police, to the courts, to the parliament, or anything like that, and you haven't done what I'm about to disclose to you, then they will simply do it. Okay, so inchoate instruments were a simple signature on a blank stamped paper is delivered by the signer. Now you can read the rest of that. I will flip over the page here and show you. So I've flipped over to the back of the document, and I've put a stamp on there. Now that stamp, you need a 5-cent stamp, guys. So put a 5-cent stamp on the back. If you haven't got a 5-cent stamp, put whatever stamp you've got there. Okay. Now you need to put the date like that, and you need to put your signature at 45 degrees. That is the date the stamp was cancelled. Now the rights are transferred to John Doe. So they cannot do it. They cannot transfer the rights now. We have completed the inchoate instrument. So inchoate simply means incomplete. Now we have completed it by putting that stamp there. Now they cannot turn it over, turn the blank document, turn the letter over and say, oh, they've given us a bill of exchange. So they convert it to a bill of exchange. Now you have cut them off at the pass. Now they must obey what is on the front of the letter. So the letter, whatever you have written to them, they must obey that now, because they cannot interfere with the mail. Now, just a few little maxims that I picked out just to show you. He who is
Just because I think outside the box, y'all, we're talking about mail, right? If you guys want to try this and push it, I have not yet done it. Okay. But if you stick your insurance card and your driver's license in the envelope and mail it to yourself or have somebody mail it to you, when they ask for your driver's license, registration, and insurance, and it's in the envelope and sealed, you can hand it to them, but they cannot open it. You did not refuse. However, they cannot open the mail. Sit and think about that, y'all. Okay? I haven't done it yet, so it's just thinking outside the box, right? Never look straight forward, always look around you, be able to protect yourself by any means necessary, is my opinion, and a learning video.
Silent appears to consent. So, as I've told you many times before, silence is acceptance. So, that's one of the maxims that tells you that. Consent makes the law. A contract is a law between the parties which can acquire force only by consent. Okay, so consent, everything must be done by consent. And this whole way through, I'm trying to teach you to stop your arguing and stop giving them consent by knowing what your rights are, because if you don't know what your rights are, you've got none. Okay, now this is a good one. The custom of the place is to be observed. Now, custom is customary rights. Now, custom, they've just shortened it to custom to confuse us. So, customary rights must be observed. So, when you come through customs, that's where your customary rights are either picked up or lost. So, if you come through, they will ask you to make a declaration. That's where you should write on your declaration that you uphold your customary rights and say it to them. Say, yes, I have something to declare. I uphold my customary rights. Now, a lot of you go to court and argue, that's not my name, blah, 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 blah. But this maxim tells us the presence of the body cures the error in the name. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you do. If you front it up in court, that's why I say never go to court. The presence of the body cures the error in the name. So it doesn't matter what they've done. If you turn up, you have cured the error. Okay, statute is the policy of a private company. And if you want the benefits of that company, then you follow their statutes. However, if they infringe on our God-given rights, then the laws of New Zealand is the way out. Now, you won't be able to get these unless you have LexisNexis, and luckily I was given access to LexisNexis, and a lot of my study was done on there. So,
now you may want to pause this and research these things, because every country has it. It just may be in a... Sorry, I'm a little further away. Every country has this, so you may have to look it up in your own country. The United States has this, but you may have to look it underneath our numbers and codes and statutes. Okay? Remember, y'all, this is a common law country that we adopted from England. However, the second king in England had another country and brought its civil law into England, and he had to actually do a compromise with the people because, well, he was afraid of losing his head, and people weren't going to have no part of this king coming in there and interfering in their inalienable rights. And then they did a plea bargain. Alright, and then 700 years of this. Remember, y'all, the United States Constitution arrived from 700 years of tyranny and compromises of England. England actually has the same constitutional rights. It just been misconstrued and renamed.
Whenever something gets passed in Parliament, it must go to the judges and the scholars to figure out whether our natural rights have been abrogated in any way. So the laws of New Zealand actually shows you, and I won't go into this too deep because it's probably above most people's heads, but the laws of New Zealand will show you where your rights are contained. So if you can get access to LexisNexis and want to go any further, this is where you'll find them. Okay, and finally, another one of the slight deceits that they try to pull the wool over our eyes with everything. When we say a will, they always say it's your last will and testament. No. Will, verb, an auxiliary verb commonly having the mandatory sense of shall or must. It is a word of certainty, while the word may is one of speculation and uncertainty. Will, noun, wish, desire, pleasure, inclination, choice. Okay, so a lot of people waste their time signing petitions, writing petitions, and going to the government with their petitions, and they wonder why they never get anywhere. Now, I've shown you one of the tricks was that you must put a stamp on the back, but if there are enough of you in a group and you write a letter to the powers that be and say, it is our will that this law does not get passed, then they must take notice of your will. Try to change the way you're doing things. I mean, the most foolish thing is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So I'm giving you different ways to do things now. Write a letter by all means. Pay your stamp duty on the back and say, it is our will. You may find that things change. So hopefully the lockdown is treating you well, and your studies are going well, and you will pass this information on to more people. Thanks, guys.
All right, sit and think about that.
Are vital to the fabric of our society.
Yes, I had surgery on my arm and I'm a little lightheaded. Okay. But we're in the Bible. Thy will shall be done. Will. Right? We're losing key words in all these interruptions of trickeries. Okay? Again, I'm just my opinion and a learning video, alright? Take it as you wish, but I am not giving legal advice, okay? But sit and think about some of these key words we're missing out on and having the understanding of it, right? Will. My will shall be done. It's in the Bible. Just saying. Alright, this is We the People News. Bye, y'all.